How good was Steve Reeves in his prime? If you think Steve Reeves was just a body in a loincloth, you missed the detonation. Between 1957 and 1964, he cracked a code nobody in Hollywood even knew existed, turned muscle into myth, transformed B pictures into box office earthquakes, and built the blueprint every action star since Arnold has been copying. We're talking 66 million tickets for one film, a distributor who spent more on hype than the movie cost to make, and the one career-killing injury that Hollywood tried to hide. Montana ranch kid, father dead at 2, moved to Oakland at 10, became Mr. America at 21, Mr. Universe at 24. Hollywood saw lawn decoration. In 1949, Cecil B. DeMille wanted him for Samson in Samson and Delilah, told him to drop 15 pounds of muscle first. Reeves walked. 5 years of bit parts followed. A cop in an Ed Wood disaster. Jane Powell's boyfriend in Athena. The studios wanted him shirtless and silent. Backdrop, ornament. Then, Italian director Pietro Francisci's daughter saw Athena, showed her father a photo. Francisci offered Reeves 10 grand and a plane ticket to Rome to play Hercules. Reeves thought it was a prank. It wasn't. Le Fétiche d'Hercule, Hercules, dropped in Italy in 1958. Low budget, dubbed dialogue, puppet lions in close-ups. But the numbers didn't lie. 24 million tickets in North America, another 31.5 million when it hit the Soviet Union in '66. Total worldwide admissions, 66.6 million. For reference, that's twice the population of California watching the same movie. American distributor Joseph E. Levine bought the rights for $120,000, dumped $25 million into promotion, comic books, pulp novels, 8-foot standees, saturation TV spots, and made $5 million in U.S. rentals alone. Critics cringed. Exhibitors grinned. Reeves became an overnight global star at age 32. If one film proved Reeves could move units, then the next one proved he could move an entire industry. Pietro Francisci wanted the sequel fast. Hercules Unchained, 1959, kept Reeves at the same $10,000 fee. His rate would double after that, but gave him something better, proof of durability. The film became the third most popular movie in Britain in 1960. By now, Reeves wasn't just the guy who played Hercules. He was the #1 box office draw in 25 countries. Then came the Auteur test. Mario Bava, master of Italian Gothic horror, and Jacques Tourneur, the American who'd made Cat People, co-directed The Giant of Marathon, 1959. They cast Reeves as Phaedipides, the legendary messenger who ran 26 miles to announce victory over Persia, then died. Bava's lighting turned Reeves' physique into sculpture. Tourneur's pacing demanded restraint, not roaring. The film earned $1.335 million in the US, $1.4 million elsewhere. $429,000 profit, solid for a peplum, staggering for an Italian B picture. But the real prestige trial came on the last days of Pompeii, 1959. Sergio Leone, yes, that's Sergio, Leone, took over when the original director fell ill on day 1. Leone was uncredited, but his fingerprints were everywhere. Cinemascope framing, the volcano eruption staged like an opera, violence that felt real even when the effects looked fake. Reeves played Glaucus, a Roman centurion caught between love, betrayal, and Vesuvius. Early in production, his chariot slammed into a tree, shoulder dislocated. Reeves snapped it back into the socket himself, kept filming. Then came the underwater scene, fighting a crocodile puppet, and he re-injured it. That shoulder would never fully heal. Every stunt in every film after Pompeii made it worse. By 1964, the pain would force him to retire. But first, he had to build the template. Hercules wasn't Reeves's only role, but it became the archetype. The signature wasn't just the body, it was the stillness. Where other strongmen flexed and growled, Reeves moved with economy. Watch him uproot a tree to stop a runaway chariot. No grunting, no grimacing. Just one smooth motion like he's picking an apple. That restraint made the strength feel mythic instead of circus act. The look became currency. Wavy black hair, styled professionally, a first for bodybuilders. Bright blue eyes, 18-inch arms, 29-inch waist. Perfect classical symmetry. Arnold Schwarzenegger later called him the greatest bodybuilder of all time because of the kind of beauty he had. Not mass, beauty. The difference mattered. The wardrobe became architecture. Peplum, the short, pleated skirt Greek and Roman men wore, framed his physique like a museum exhibit. Every costume was cut to emphasize the V-taper, wide shoulders, narrow hips, long legs. When Reeves crossed his arms or angled his torso toward the camera, the composition turned painterly. Directors noticed. So did audiences. So did every bodybuilder who came after. The template spread fast. Within 2 years of Hercules, Italian studios churned out 170 mythology-based films between 1957 and 1964. Suddenly, there were 19 Hercules movies starring different actors, 25 Makiste films, Goliath franchises, Samson spin-offs, Reg Park, Gordon Scott, Mark Forrest, Kirk Morris, all bodybuilders, all copying the Reeves playbook. Stoic hero, scantily clad women in peril, monsters, tyrants, a final act where he pulls down a temple. Fashion followed. The toga party became a college ritual. Leather sandals and bronze accessories flooded American department stores. GQ ran spreads on the Hercules physique. 20 years later, Schwarzenegger would admit he got into bodybuilding because he saw Reeves in Hercules as a kid in Austria. 50 years later, directors like Zack Snyder, 300, Ridley Scott, Gladiator, and Wolfgang Petersen, Troy, would cite the peplum era as direct inspiration. Reeves didn't just star in a genre, he invented it. Then the genre outlived him. How he did it. Stillness. Most action stars of the 50s, Kirk Douglas, Burt Lancaster, relied on intensity, volume, sweat. Reeves did the sham opposite. In Hercules Unchained, when he wakes up with amnesia in Queen Omphale's palace, he doesn't thrash or shout. He sits, stares, lets the camera linger on confusion crossing his face. The stillness made him seem larger, more dangerous, like a panther deciding whether to pounce. Angles. Reeves understood geometry. He positioned his body in 3/4 profiles, never straight on, never full side, so every shot showed depth. In Giant of Marathon, during the pre-battle speech, he plants his left foot forward, twists his torso slightly right, and the lighting catches the full sweep of his lats. It's not accidental. He trained for years in front of mirrors, learning which angles made muscles pop. He brought that knowledge to set. Timing. Comedy lives in pauses. So does power. Watch the scene in Hercules where he fights the Cretan bull. The bull charges. Reeves waits, then sidesteps at the last possible frame and brings his fist down on its skull. The delay sold the danger. If he'd moved early, it's choreography. Moving late, it's survival. Eye line. Reeves rarely looked at whoever he was talking to. He looked slightly past them, toward some distant horizon. It made him seem otherworldly, like he was seeing things mortals couldn't. In Duel of the Titans, playing Romulus opposite Gordon Scott's Remus, that gaze past the scene created a hierarchy. Remus was human. Romulus was myth. Economy, no wasted motion. In The Trojan Horse, 1961, Aeneas, Reeves, escapes a burning city carrying 2 children and an old man. 3 separate takes, 3 different grips, 0 stumbles. Efficiency made the impossible look easy, which made it cinematic. If he struggled, you'd remember the struggle. If he glides, you remember the hero. Wardrobe as architecture. Costumers learned fast. Drape Reeves in leather straps and metal accents. Keep the torso bare. Let the fabric move when he moves. In Morgan, the pirate, 1960, his pirate gear, open vest, tight pants, boots, turned him into a romance novel cover 30 years early. The wardrobe didn't hide the body. It framed the body like a sculpture in a gallery. Partnering. Reeves had chemistry with co-stars. Silva Cosina in both Hercules films. Christine Kaufman in Pompeii. Chelo Alonso in Goliath and the Barbarians. He played tender, not domineering. In Hercules, when he saves Iole from the runaway chariot, he catches her, lowers her to the ground, and checks her face for injury before he says a word. That tenderness made him the romantic lead, not just the muscle. Romance made tickets, conviction. Even in absurd scenes, wrestling a puppet lion, pulling down foam pillars, out-tugging two horses. Reeves committed. Watch him in Hercules Unchained, fighting ex-heavyweight champion Primo Carnera in a death match. Carnera outweighed him by 60 pounds. Reeves treated it like gladiator combat. No smirking, no winking at the audience. Play it straight, and the audience plays along. Break the illusion, and they walk out. Hercules, 1958. $5 million US rentals, 66.6 million tickets worldwide, launched the entire peplum genre. Hercules Unchained, 1959. Third most popular film in Britain, 1960, made Reeves the highest paid actor in Europe. Goliath and the Barbarians, 1959. $1.6 million North America, when Double Billed cemented Reeves as a franchise. The Giant of Marathon, 1959. Won $335 million US, $1.4 million overseas, $429,000 profit. Proof Reeves could work with A-list directors. The Last Days of Pompeii, 1959. Sergio Leone's uncredited directorial debut. CinemaScope spectacle, career-altering injury. Duel of the Titans, 1961. Reeves as Romulus opposite Gordon Scott's Remus, directed by Sergio Corbucci, showed range beyond Hercules. By 1960, Reeves was the #1 box office draw in 25 countries. His fee jumped from $10,000 for Hercules to $250,000 per film by 1963, highest in Europe at the time, rivaling Sophia Loren. Between 1958 and 1964, he made 16 peplum films. Industry lore claims he was offered $100,000 to play James Bond in Dr. No, but turned it down because the salary was too low and he didn't want a multi-picture contract. Sean Connery got the role instead. Reeves also passed on A Fistful of Dollars, the film that made Clint Eastwood a star, because he didn't believe Italians could make a good Western. That role rejection cost him the spaghetti Western revolution he'd inadvertently helped create by proving Italian genre films could dominate globally. Numbers were peaking. Then, a chariot hit a tree. The shoulder, that broke a career industry lore, says the 1959 Last Days of Pompeii accident was hushed fast. Reeves dislocated his shoulder when the chariot struck a tree, snapped it back into place himself, and kept filming because Sergio Leone needed the shot. Days later, the underwater crocodile fight scene re-injured it. The production didn't stop. The injury never healed. By Duel of the Titans, 1961, crew members reportedly noticed Reeves wincing between takes. By Sandokan the Great, 1963, his stunt work, which he insisted on doing himself because his build made it impossible to find a double, was aggravating nerve damage. He'd pop painkillers, finish the scene, then ice the shoulder for an hour. In 1964, he wrapped Pirates of Malaysia, collected his $250,000 check, and told his agent he was done. Shoulder couldn't take it. The genre had moved on anyway. Spaghetti westerns were the new gold rush, and Reeves had already turned down the role that birthed them. He retired to a ranch in Oregon, then Valley Center, California, where he bred Morgan horses and promoted drug-free bodybuilding. The films outlasted the pain. The template outlasted the man. The roles he rejected. Cubby Broccoli offered Reeves the role of James Bond in Dr. No, 1962. Salary, reportedly $100,000. Reeves declined, calling it insufficient and saying he didn't want to be locked into a franchise. Sean Connery took $30,000 and became a legend. Then Sergio Leone offered him the lead in A Fistful of Dollars, 1964. Reeves turned it down, reportedly saying he didn't believe Italians could make a credible Western. Clint Eastwood took the role, launched the spaghetti Western era, and became an icon. 2 swings, 2 misses. Reeves said later he had no regrets. He'd made his money, kept his freedom, and got out before the industry chewed him up. Fair enough. But the industry remembers what could have been. The final act, Reeves married 3 times. Broadway actress Sandra Smith, 1955-56, lasted 1 year. Polish Countess Aline Czarzowicz, 1963-89, 26 years until she died from a stroke. And Deborah Ann Engelhorn, 1994-2000. No children. Private man. After retiring from film, he wrote books on natural bodybuilding, championed power walking, and became an advocate against steroids, a stance that put him at odds with the new generation of mass monster bodybuilders. In 1997, He gave one of his last interviews, admitting he'd been diagnosed with lymphoma. He died in May 2000 at age 74 from a blood clot after exploratory surgery. His last screen appearance was a 2000 A&E biography episode about Arnold Schwarzenegger, who called him the most successful bodybuilder at his time and credited Reeves with giving him a vision beyond just lifting weights. The student honored the teacher. The genre buried the founder. Afterglow the legacy. The template didn't die. It upgraded. Arnold Schwarzenegger watched Hercules as a kid in Austria and decided he wanted that life. Muscles, movies, money. He copied the playbook. Bodybuilding titles, sword-and-sandal films, Hercules in New York 1970, terrible but strategic. Then action franchises. Same trajectory, bigger budget. Sylvester Stallone credited Reeves for inspiring him to lift weights and chase stardom. So did Lou Ferrigno, who played the Hulk and later Hercules himself. So did Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who called Reeves the godfather of the movie star muscle man movement. Directors kept mining the formula. Ridley Scott's Gladiator, 2000, released the same year Reeves died, won Best Picture and revived the ancient epic. Zack Snyder's 300, 2006, turned the peplum aesthetic into CGI spectacle. Wolfgang Petersen's Troy, 2004, cast Brad Pitt as Achilles using the same visual grammar Reeves pioneered. Shirtless hero, slow-motion combat, beauty as power. Fashion still echoes. Leather harnesses, strappy sandals, the Greek god body as gym bro aspiration. All Reeves. He was the first bodybuilder to hire a professional stylist for competitions, the first to understand that presentation mattered as much as mass. Every Men's Health cover model with a six-pack and a smirk owes him royalties. And the genre? The peplum died in 1965 when spaghetti westerns took over, but it never really left. It just shape-shifted. Conan, Rambo, Mad Max, Predator, The Expendables, every action hero who strips off his shirt and stands alone against impossible odds is playing a version of Reeves's Hercules. The toga became combat gear. The myth became the mission. The code stayed the same. How good was Steve Reeves in his prime? Good enough to turn a $120,000 Italian B movie into $5 million. Good enough to become the highest paid actor in Europe by age 34. Good enough that 3 bodybuilding titles, 16 films, and 1 shoulder injury built a blueprint the industry still follows 60 years later. But here's the real measure. Reeves never wanted to be Hercules forever. He played the role twice, then walked away to do other characters. Goliath, Pheidippides, Romulus, Aeneas, Sandokan. He turned down Bond. He turned down the man with no name. He got out when the money was good and the body still worked. And he spent the rest of his life breeding horses and preaching drug-free bodybuilding. He didn't chase fame. He converted it into freedom, presence over volume, results over hype. That's the difference between a star and a legend. The man lasted 74 years. The template is immortal. Drop a comment. What's your definitive Steve Reeves moment? The tree uprooting in Hercules? The chariot crash that ended everything? The career he walked away from because he knew when to quit? Let's hear it.